Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be comparing two great cities. We're going to compare Chicago along with Orlando. Now, we used Deerfield
because you grew up there. That's why we used Deerfield, just to be clear.
Well, and also it's not Highland Park, it's not Winnetka, but in the same token, it's not Waukegan. We want something that's kind of in the middle. And what we're going to compare today, the cost of living in these cities, housing, transportation, groceries, as well as lifestyle.
Our goal is to provide you with some valuable insight to help you make your decision if you are planning to relocate here, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. All right, so let's get started between the similarities and the differences between Orlando and Deerfield.
Now, before we do, I'm of course wearing my Chicago stuff. This is a Ditka jersey signed by Iron Mike. I'm rooting for Chicago.
Well, and I'm wearing my flamingos because why not? Even though we don't have flamingos here in Orlando, it is known to have the pink flamingo stick lawn figure in your lawn.
Let's get going.
Let's do it. We hear people say, we are done living in Chicago. We want to move to Florida. But the thing is, George and I, we really love Chicago, especially you.
Well, having grown up there, as I said, I grew up in Deerfield. Everything in my history is from Chicago. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's get weather out of the way right now. Chicago has 3 amazing seasons with spring, summer, and fall, and one relatively uncomfortable season.
Relatively uncomfortable? Didn't you tell me about you walking backward to school in negative 40-degree wind in the middle of the road because the snow had covered all the sidewalks?
I did. That was back in '77, and it was ridiculous. We literally walked backwards, and that was the advice. They called it. The radio station said, "Okay, if your kids are going to school today, please have them walk backwards so the wind chill doesn't get them." Minus 40 degrees, 77. Check me on that one. We all did it. And didn't we hunker down right here a couple years ago and lose power when a hurricane went over the top of us as a Category 1?
But it really wasn't that bad for us, and didn't we get to snuggle a lot during that time and make the most of it?
That actually was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. All right.
And a hurricane party, which is always fun to have. You
Yes.
can't do that up in Chicago.
Yes, absolutely not. All right, so there's always pros and cons to everything, and we wanted to get the weather out of the way, but let's leave it with this. Chicago has horrible winters, and the cold and the snow and the sleet, along with getting dark at 4:30 and overcast for weeks, takes its toll on you.
And Florida has 3 to 5 months of incredible heat, massive sweating, have to change your shirt, miserable, horrible, bad hair day conditions.
True that.
And on the upside of Chicago, the spring is amazing with all the plants blooming, the flowers everywhere, the trees coming alive, no humidity, and just perfect weather, spring, summer, and fall.
Yes, but in Florida, we have 9 months of picture-perfect weather. I'm talking sunny and mild, almost never cloudy, and absolutely, positively never, ever, ever, ever snows. It's why everyone wants to come down and visit.
Okay, let's call that a draw. Both areas have their pros and their cons. Let's move on to healthcare.
According to research, healthcare in Chicago is 7.4% less than it is in Orlando. Now, we can't talk about the quality of the healthcare in Chicago, but we sure can talk about the quality of the healthcare in Florida.
So, having experienced the healthcare in Florida myself, not by choice, with both knees replaced and a very mild heart issue, which I'm happy to report has been completely resolved, I can tell you that the healthcare in Orlando is exceptional. And what I'm hearing is the healthcare in Chicago is equally good. The difference is it's 7% less expensive. So for this one, the win goes to Chicago.
I'll give it to you. Transportation is the next category we're going to cover, and unfortunately, again, we're going to have to give Chicago the win. Orlando has a bunch of toll roads, and the expense for transportation, along with the expense for fuel, is around 19% higher.
In Chicago, we have 94, which can get crazy with traffic, and don't even get me started talking about going downtown. In Orlando, we have the I-4 corridor, which has the same issues as Chicago, so really, transportation, it comes down to cost. And it's less expensive by about 19%, as we mentioned earlier, which means a win for Chicago.
Yes, but you also have to buy winter clothes.
Okay.
Now let's talk about food and groceries. And according to bestplaces.net, Orlando, with food cost about 3% lower than Chicago. Both places have their staple stores, with Orlando and Florida having Publix, and Chicago and surrounding areas having the Jewel stores, and both have fresh markets, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and specialty stores.
So it really comes down to the cost. And as much as I hate to say it, Orlando has Chicago beat by 2.7%.
And we also have Portillo's. So, boom.
Nice.
By the way, if you're liking the content of this video, please do us a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. It will really mean the world to us. And thank you if you're already subscribed. Let's move on to our next topic, which is utilities. We will be discussing housing later, but first let's talk about what it'll cost you if you want to keep your house warm or cold.
So this is yet another win for the Chicagoland area, and it surprised me. But Chicago is 7.7% less in cost to keep your house, well, in your case, warm, in our case, cold.
This is an intangible, but it has to be brought up. Lifestyle and culture, what each city offers. Prior to the pandemic, George and I traveled to Chicago often. Having visited Chicago and living in Orlando, there is so much to do.
Things like taking in a Cubs game, Cubbies! Sitting up on the bleachers, hanging out, going to Ravinia for an amazing concert. Even the festivals downtown. I mean, there's so much culture in Chicago. Another win for us.
And the food, I'll give you the food. The food is phenomenal, especially the deep dish pizza. Yum, yum. Now, of course, you can't do that from October to April. I'm sorry, I have to get in our shameless plug for Florida.
Well, we can go skiing in Alpine Valley, which is a little hill.
All right, I'll give you that. But still, Florida weather is a lot better.
Actually, to be fair, you and I like to go skiing in Utah, and that's much better.
That's true.
Florida's are tiny little hills in Chicago. They're not very big, so sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Let's keep on talking about the fabulous Florida weather. The best beaches in the world right outside your doorstep. Any outdoor activity you can imagine year-round. Some of the best fishing, biking, tennis, and pickleball, which has become quite a big thing here in Orlando.
Now, she forgot golf, and also I'm going to advise you in the summertime to do those activities early in the morning because, boy, does it get hot and sticky here sometimes.
For lifestyle and culture, we're going to have to call it a wash. Chicago definitely has more culture, but Orlando, the lifestyle, you can't beat it. But I'll tell you what, we're going to fly to Chicago and experience the culture, but then we're going to come right back to Orlando and just enjoy the weather.
Okay, let's talk about taxes and houses, and I'm predicting Orlando's going to come back pretty strong on these two categories.
Yup, as you predicted, George. The tax burden. Let's talk about that one first. Florida comes out with another win. In fact, in Florida, you can expect 8.8% of your income to go toward taxes. In Illinois, you can expect 11.1% of your income to go toward taxes.
Now, some of those taxes actually are part of the toll road system that we have, which makes transportation more expensive. So we kind of double dipped. But here's the thing. You're going to save money on taxes living in Florida. That's a proven fact. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk housing. Now, again, we're using Deerfield, not Highland Park, Lake Forest, or Hinsdale, because it was kind of middle of the road comparing that to Orlando and the suburbs of Orlando. Remember, I lived in Deerfield. I actually lived at Timber Hill, and I absolutely love it. But this was kind of a shocker. Let's get to some numbers. There's a 42.3% difference, meaning the cost of a house similar size is $170,000 less in Orlando and less taxes by 4% as well. Unfortunately, these numbers definitely sway it towards Chicago. Sorry, one more time.
No, boy. Florida.
All right, what she said, Florida. I got that wrong. They definitely lean towards Florida as where you're going to save more money. But all that money you're saving here, think about this. Maybe you move to Florida, and with the money you're saving, you book a flight back when you need that cultural and family fix. And you still get all the benefit of an amazing lifestyle.
Okay, don't get us wrong. Both cities are great. We love Chicago, but we also love Orlando and its lifestyle. If you're considering a move here and want to take a look at what your future can hold in Florida, reach out to us. We are here to help. That does it for our video for today. We hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time. One more thing.
One more thing.
What?
Football season starts in less than 1 month. Go Bears!
The Bears!
The Bears!
Bye.
Bye for now.